Well, good Friday morning to everyone. Hope you are doing well wherever you are and whatever you have going on. Hope the weather is good for you. I know it feels like fall here in Virginia, that's for sure. It was down in the upper 40s last night. Makes for a nice, crisp, cool morning in the middle 50s. And the cool morning just makes the coffee taste that much better. So we are. At first, I said I wasn't going to play this game today. I was going to wait till Monday, but I figured, why do that? Why not just keep the ball rolling? So we're going to play this first game on May the 27th, game number 302 total on the replay. And it just so happens that's the Boston Red Sox against the Cleveland Indians. And that was first on the schedule regardless of what day I played it. But also had the sad news that came out yesterday that Mike Greenwell passed away at the age of 62 yesterday. And he's actually in the starting lineup for this game. Did not know he was ill. I've Googled the cause of what he died of, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but coming up on my screen through a couple of clicks, I got to this thing here about medullary thyroid cancer. I'm not sure if that's what he passed away from, but that's what came up on my Google search, because it talked about him, but it didn't really give me what he, and all the comments don't really say what he had. He had been died. Okay, here we go. He had been diagnosed back in August with medullary thyroid cancer. Okay. So apparently that's what he passed away from. I don't know what that is, but anytime you have the C word in there, that's not a good sign. So definitely too young to be passing away at that age. That's for sure. 62, you just have, still have a whole lot of life hopefully in you to go, to experience. So feel bad about that. But like I said, I didn't pick this game because of that. This game was first on the schedule regardless, but I just figured, why go on to something else? Why not keep the 87 train going? So Mike Greenwell, unfortunately, left us too soon at the age of 62. So starting pitchers for today's game, Phil Niekro for the Cleveland Indians and Roger Clemens for the Red Sox. This game again was played May 27th. I believe it was a Wednesday, but don't quote me on it. It's game number 302. We're at Fenway, which again is very hitter friendly. Singles are 1-19 and 1-15. Home runs 1-7 and 1-10. Neither team is doing all that well. They're kind of bottom feeders in the American League East. Cleveland's 19 and 26. Boston is 17 and 27. But one Hall of Fame pitcher and one soon. Roger Clemens will get in the Hall of Fame. That's just a given. He will get in the Hall of Fame. It may take the Veterans Committee, but he will get in there because he deserves to be in there. He was a Hall of Fame pitcher long before any PED stuff came up. So he will get in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds will be in the Hall of Fame. Rest assured, they will. It may take them 10 years, but they will get in the Hall of Fame. And they rightfully deserve to be there. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Fame player before he took the stuff. So the PEDs did not make him Hall of Fame player. Did not make them Hall of Fame players. They were already Hall of Fame players. All right. Hey, Jeffrey, I'm not sure if you came in just now or when I started, but Red Sox right fielder in this game, Mike Greenwell, passed away yesterday. So it's kind of a pseudo tribute game to Mike Greenwell. He's actually in the starting lineup, but he passed away from cancer at the age of 62 yesterday. So kind of a somber way to get this game going, but that's the cycle of life. But like I said, anytime you hit that C word, it's not good. So hello, Jeremiah. Yes, it's definitely sad to hear about that. When people, you're getting old when the people you saw come up as rookies are now passing away. Of course, he's only 2 years older than I am, so so it puts life in perspective quite a bit. All right, so Roger Clemens on the replay is 3-3. I forgot to write in that record of his. On the replay is 3-3 with a 4.70 earned run average. 69 innings pitched, 75 hits, 23 walks, and 63 strikeouts. On the real season, he was 20-9 with a 2.97. So he's definitely underperformed in this replay to this point, but we're only at near the end of May, so it's a long way to go. You got June, July, August, and September. A lot of things can happen between now and then in this replay. Leading off for the Cleveland Indians will be Brett Butler. He's hitting .416 on the replay and 101 at bats. He's still hitting .416. Don't know if he has enough at bats to qualify for league lead yet. We'll find out when we get to the end of May. No homers, 9 driven in. He hit .295 real world. So Brett Butler against Roger Clemens. We're underway. 1-6, and that's a leadoff walk. That's something Butler did quite a bit in his career. And in 1987, no different. He had 91 walks in the season. So Brett Butler is reaching with the walk, and now we'll see if he can get the lead. Clemens has a 0 hold. He's a +1, but Gedman's a -1, so net 0 on that. So to get the lead, a 2 through 8 or a 12. That is a 12, so he gets the lead. He's going to go. 15 being held as a 13. 1 to 13, he will steal it. And he's got caught stealing. Boy, good throw there by Rich Gedman. And Barrett puts on the tag, and he is out trying to steal. Evil D20 strikes early with the big number. And yes, Jeff, I did not put Greenwell in the lineup. He was already in this lineup real world, so it just happened to fall on this date. But hey, Chuck and G Puck, good to see you. Here is Julio Franco, shortstop. He's hitting .299, 2 homers, 24 driven in. He hit .319 on the replay. 3-9, and that is going to be a split chance. 1 to 7 is a single, but that's an 11, so he lines it to short, where Spike Owen will make the play, and there's 2 up and 2 down after the caught stealing. And here comes Pat Tabler, the designated hitter. Tabler hitting .350 on the replay. 4 homers, 27 driven in. He hit .307 real world. That's a 1-8, and he's going to count it to short. And Owen will take care of that as well. So after a bright start, the leadoff walk, things went awry after the caught stealing. And now we go to the bottom of the first. And the ageless one, Phil Niekro, in his final season in the major leagues, 1987 was his final season. He was 7-13 with a .610 earned run average. And Ellis Burks will be on the mound, or be on the at the plate rather. And we'll get the numbers on Niekro for the replay. Niekro is 2-4 in the replay, with an ERA of 6.71. Like I said, he had 6.10 real world. In the replay, 6.71, 55 innings pitched, 61 hits, 33 walks, and 28 strikeouts. Oh, Worcester. Cool. All righty. All right, here is Ellis Burks. 3-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to short, 1 away. Burks was hitting .227 on the replay, 3 homers, 9 driven in. He was hitting .272 real world. But in the replay right now, he's hitting, a little bit less than .227 now because he just grounded out to short. 4-1 away, and that brings up Marty Barrett. Barrett hitting .310 on the replay, no homers, 8 driven in. He hit .293 real world. 6-8 from Niekro, and that's a base on balls. First walk issued by Niekro. And Barrett, Niekro's a +1. He's a 0, but Bando's a +1. So Barrett, if he gets a 4, he can take a good lead. Otherwise, he will hold because that'll give him a 19 as a starting point. Doesn't get the 4, so he will hold. And here's Wade Boggs. Boggs is hitting .345 on the replay, 9 homers, 21 driven in. He hit .363 real world. 6-5 to the lefty, and that's a line out to short. So he hit it hard, but right to Franco for out number 2. 2 down, and that brings up Jim Rice. Rice hitting 315 on the replay, 3 homers, 19 driven in. Hit 277 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. 6-5, and that is a fly to center. Hauled in by Butler, and after one complete at Fenway, we got no score. Tribe and Red Sox. Starting out the top of the second will be the most disappointing player in the replay, and that's Joe Carter. In the real season, he hit 264, 32 homers. In the replay, he's hitting 180 with just 8 home runs. That's a 6-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Wade Boggs, 2E16. 2 and a 7. We'll see if he can get to that. I think he can. 2 and a 7 is a G2. That's a 7, and he is an E16. There's a 7 right there, right in the middle. 4, 7, and 14 are the bad numbers for an E1, for an E-rated 16, and we got a 7. So Wade Boggs boots it, and Joe Carter begins the inning at first base. Clemens not too happy about it. Carter, chance to get a lead. 2 through 5 would get him the lead. But he can't get the lead, so he'll hold. Here's Mel Hall. He's in left field. Hitting 305 on the replay. 5 homers, 17 driven in. He hit 280 real world. 5-4, and that's a fly to center where Ellis Burks will put it away. 1 down. And that sends us to Brooke Jacoby, third baseman. Jacoby, 335 on the replay. 6 homers, 26 driven in. He had an even 300 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. Clemens, 110. And that's a ballpark blast for Brooke Jacoby, a 110. It's a 1-10, but that's a 17, so that's just a deep fly to left. Would have been a home run without the ballpark effects, but Fenway being a 10, but the double die didn't cooperate. So right against the green monster, Jim Rice will make the catch for out number 2. And that'll bring up Doug Frobel, utility guy, but he does get to start in this game. He had 40 at-bats, hit an even 100. So you can see his card is not very good. He's got a couple of walks. Everything else on his card is an out. So if you get anything off his card, it's going to be an out. He has to get something off Clemens' card. It's the only way that's going to work. Frobel in the replay, however, is hitting 375 and 8 at bats. So 3 out of 8. So, strange. He must have gotten a lot of hits off the pitcher card is all I can say. But Clemens will pitch to Frobel. That's a 3-9. That's bad because it came off his own card, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Clemens. Took him 2 innings to get it. But he pitches around the Boggs error and takes care of Cleveland to end the top of the second. We go to the bottom of the second. Still zip to zip. And the designated hitter, Don Baylor, will come out and start things off. Don Baylor on the replay, hitting 234, 5 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 245 real world. And it's time, while it's still nice and hot, to have a good cup of coffee, a good sip of coffee. And on a cool morning when it's in the lower 50s, just makes the coffee taste that much better. All right, here's Baylor, 3-9, and that's going to be a walk. So second walk issued, oops, wrong side. Why do I keep doing that? The coffee distracted me, I think. So Baylor will draw the walk. That for future reference here. Baylor walks. He will not be held. He's not a very good base runner. And now, of course, the Mike Greenwell, his first at bat. Again, the sad news of his passing at age 62 yesterday. Greenwell in the replay is hitting 367, 8 homers, 19 driven in, hit 328 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. 1-7 for Greenwell, and that's unfortunately he's going to hit into a double play. That's going to be a 4-6-3 double play, tailor-made. and 2 quick outs. So the dice have no compassion for Mr. Greenwell. 2 down, and here comes Billy Buck. Buckner hitting 247, 3 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 286 real world. 3-7, and that's a ground ball to first. That'll be handled by Carter. And that's going to take care of things here in the bottom of the second for the Red Sox. Double play kind of put the kibosh on everything. Good morning, Kathy. All right, so we are at the top of the third. Kathy says that she has a trivia question all lined up and raring to go. So if you want to direct your attention to the chat box, and we'll see if we can answer whatever question it is. What team was first in history to score 1,000 runs in a 162 game season? Wow, 1,000 runs. My first guess is probably wrong, so I'll hold off on that. Jeff says, do we have to give a year? Or no, it just says the team. It doesn't say the year. So Jeff is saying the Yankees. And that was my first thought, was the 61 Yankees, but because that's when the 62 game season started and had expansion. But that's probably not right. So I'm thinking it's probably a Red Sox team, because they play. You got to think of somebody that plays in a hitter friendly ballpark. Maybe the 78 Red Sox. I don't know, but Jeff is now saying the Tigers. Don't know if Jeff got that one or not after the guess of the Yankees. My first thought is Red Sox, just because they play in Fenway Park and they had some good hitting teams in the mid-70s. But I don't think it's Colorado, because I think somebody would have gotten there before Colorado came along. And hello, Michael. William has guessed the Reds. That's the Big Red Machine. I can see that. Oh, hey, William. That's a good guess with the Big Red Machine. Would you like 3 teams to choose from? Absolutely, Kathy. Anything you can give us as a helper would be great. It's probably be some obscure teams that we would never think of. Or maybe Kathy will try to trick us by putting 2 teams we would think of, and the real team being the one we wouldn't think of, we would not choose. So at least you got a 33% chance of getting it right. 33 and a third, whatever. If you get 1 out of 3 choices. So apparently it's not the Yankees, Tigers, or the Red Sox. Or Colorado. Okay, well, that eliminates, 1, 2, 3, 5 teams have now been eliminated. So we've narrowed those down. Question is it an American League team or National League team? Because American League, you would think the DH, they would score more runs, but not necessarily. Dodgers, Braves, or Indians? Wow. The Dodgers and Braves don't. Well, the Dodgers in the late 70s had a good offense. Braves were mainly known for their pitching. Now, the Indians in 95, particularly, or in the mid-90s, they scored some serious runs. Also, in this late 80s, they scored some runs. They just didn't have any pitching. So I'm kind of with William. I'm leaning towards Cleveland on this one. But again, for all I know, it could be somebody else. But I'm just thinking logically with all these power hitting teams or high average teams that they had, just didn't have any pitching to go with it, unfortunately. But they had a good lineup, no question about it. All right. What year was that, Kathy? Was that 86 or 1999? Okay, Wow, it took that long for somebody to score 1,000 runs. And as far as I know, did they even make the playoffs that year? They must have had bad pitching. They scored that many runs. Must have been some bad pitching. Is all I can say. That's about all I can say about it. They must have had bad pitching. That's to do that. But either way, thank you for the question, Kathy. That was definitely had a stump there for a little bit. When you need a hint to get the question right, you're stumped. All right, so we're going to the top of the third now. And it will be Corey Snyder, Chris Bando, and Brett Butler. So on the replay, Corey Snyder's hitting 243, 7 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 236 real world. That's a 3-6 for Snyder, and that's a 1-4 double, but that's going to be an 8, so he will fly to center field, where Ellis Burks will haul it in. And that is now 1 away. And that will send up Chris Bando, the catcher, number 9 hitter. Chris Bando hitting 181 on the replay, a homer and 8 driven in. He hit 218 real world. 210, and that's going to be a 1-19 double. So there's no 20 there, so the double stands for Chris Bando. Bando with the 1-out double. First serious threat of the game for either team to score. We get a first player in scoring position. And it'll be back to the top of the order, and Brett Butler. Of course, Bando will not be held at second base. Butler walked and got caught stealing his first time up. 1-5, and he's going to walk again. That'll put runners at first and second. It does set up a double play. If you want to look at it from Boston's perspective as being positive, it does set up a double play for Julio Franco. Franco's got a lot of A chances in his ground ball A chances in his column too. Here's Clemens to Franco, but it's 6-8. That's a strikeout, so Clemens will take that any day of the week. That is strikeout number 2 on the ball game. And Pat Tabler steps to the plate. He grounded to short his first time up. It is a clutch situation. First clutch situation of the game. And Tabler in the clutch is completely neutral. 1-8, and he will ground it to short for Spike Owen. And despite the 1-out double, the Tribe unable to cash it in. So we go to the bottom of the third, still no score. And Niekro will be out to face the catcher, Rich Gedman, number 8 hitter in the lineup. Gedman on the replay hitting 152, no homers, 5 driven in. He hit 205 real world. We have a question in the top of the 5th, so be getting your thinking caps ready for that. I may need another swig of coffee just to get ready for the trivia. And while it's still warm also. 3-7, and that's a strikeout. First strikeout for Mr. Niekro. Knuckleball must have been floating on that one. Here is Spike Owen. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking that Phil Niekro may be the only player in this replay that was in Jeffrey's 1969 replay. I'm thinking he's the only guy. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking he's the only one that's been around that long. All right, here is Spike Owen hitting 212 on the replay, a homer and 3 driven in. Hit 258 or 259 real world, 259. 2-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. Jacoby will handle it. 2 down. This afternoon, probably around 1 o'clock or so, I'm thinking, will be Game 3 of the 1978 World Series on season ticket baseball. As the scene shifts back to Yankee Stadium, series tied at a game apiece. It'll be Don Sutton against Ron Guidry. All right, here is Ellis Burks. Oh, I didn't need that because nobody's on base. Ellis Burks, 2-6, and it's a ground ball to Jacoby again, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Niekro, and nothing but goose eggs for the first 3 innings, even though we're playing in Fenway Park. Only had 1 ballpark experience, and that was a fail, so Fenway Park has not come into play yet. So that will bring up Joe Carter. He reached on the Boggs error his first time up. 1-9 for Carter. He's going to get a base hit. Leadoff single for Carter. He may be looking to see if he can get a lead here. 2-5. 2 through 5 gets him a lead. 7, but that's a 1. He could get picked off. That's the danger of trying for the lead. His safe range is 1-14. That's his secondary lead number. This number has 2 purposes. 1, it's a steal attempt when you don't get a good lead. And 2, it's your safe attempt on a pickoff to get back. So 1-14, he gets back safely. 15 or higher, he is out. and he gets back safely. So Joe Carter gets back, but he cannot establish a good lead now. He will hold. Here's Mel Hall. 3-3 for Hall. He pops it up to short. Spike Owen is there, one away. And that brings up Brooke Jacoby. .311 for Jacoby. That's a ballpark blast, and that's a 5. It's gone. Brooke Jacoby. A 2-run blast for Brooke Jacoby. Look at it again. .311 is the old ballpark blast result. And Fenway Park is a 10, and the double die is a 5. 2-run homer for Brooke Jacoby. For the season, that is home run number 7 for Jacoby. RBIs 27 and 28. And Cleveland takes a 2-0 lead on Roger Clemens, as he got one in the zone, and Jacoby didn't miss it. So here's Frobel. 4-12, and that's a ground ball back to Clemens. Easy play there, 2 down. Clemens still hot about leaving that pitch where he didn't want to against Jacoby. He knew he threw a bad pitch, a meatball, and Jacoby didn't miss it. Here's Bando. I'm sorry, it should be Snyder, not Bando. My bad. Got him out of order somehow. It's actually Snyder that's batting. 111 for Snyder, and that's a fly to right field to end the inning. But a 2-run home run from Brooke Jacoby gives the Cleveland Indians a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Bill Niekro given a 2-0 lead to protect. He'll be facing Barrett, Boggs, and Rice, heart of the order, here in the bottom of the 4th. Don't forget, we have a trivia question, top 5th. 5-8, and that's going to be a pop out to third. Jacoby will handle it. Jacoby has secured, or at least been a part of, the last 3 outs. 2 ground outs and now a pop out. And here's Boggs. Boggs lined to Snyder at short his first time up. 3-4, and that's going to be a 1-17 single, and that's a base hit for Boggs. So kind of unusual. Snyder's at short. Franco moved from shorts to second. So a little bit of a change up there for Cleveland, as Bernazar is not playing. Boggs will not be held. And here comes Jim Rice, tying run at the plate in Jim Rice. Hello, Dan. Rice, 5-4. And that is a ground ball third base X. So again, Jacoby has a chance to make something happen with a double play, but he's a 4.25, so he better get a good roll. 4-15 is pretty good. I think he can turn a double play with that. No, he can't. It's actually a fielder's choice. But assuming there's no error, of course. That's an 8, and he is an E25. So E25, but there's an 8 right there, right in the middle. E5, so both third basemen have committed an error in this game, but the E25 and an 8 is right there smack dab in the middle. He was thinking about trying to hurry the double play and end up getting nobody out. So it's an E5, and that puts runners at first and second. So each third baseman has committed an error in this game. Boggs' error didn't really amount to anything because Clemens got the next 3 outs, but here he got first and second with just 1 out, and here's Don Baylor. Baylor walked his first chance and erased on a double play. 3-11, and that's going to be a ballpark single check. That's pretty good for Fenway with a 15, so that's a base hit to load the bases. Bases are loaded for Mike Greenwell, and we hope he doesn't hit into a double play like he did last time. That was kind of bad karma. We'll see what happens this time. Infield back for the double play. 1-9. And he's going to ground it to third base B, so there will be a fielder's choice, and the run will score. Cleveland unable to turn the double play. Boggs will score to cut the lead to 2-1. RBI ground out for Greenwell. Going to third is Baylor, and Greenwell is at first. So an RBI ground out cuts the lead to 2-1. With now 2 outs. And Billy Buck, the batter. Billy Buck. Greenwell not being held. 3-7 for Buckner. That's a ground ball to first, and that's going to end the inning. But the Red Sox get a run on an RBI ground out. They were looking for more with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, but they at least take the one. Sometimes you have to take what you can get. And we go to the top of the 5th with the score Cleveland 2 and Boston 1. And now if you will direct your attention to the chat box again, Miss Kathy has trivia question number 2 for us. And we'll see if we can answer this one without a hint this time. What player smacked 6 hits in one game against 6 different pitchers? Early 60s, would you like multiple choice? Ooh, let's see here. Early 60s, she said. She's going back on the trivia here. I remember Rennie Stenick getting 6 hits in, but that was in the 70s. I think it was 1976. 6 different pitchers. That's unusual in the 60s to have 6 different pitchers. That's a story all in itself. But yes, I think multiple choice might be the best result because I don't think any of us, unless the people were smarter than, well, it wouldn't be hard to be smarter than me, but I mean, you got to really know your trivia to get that off the top of your head. So I think multiple choice might be or at least, if not multiple choice, at least give the team some sort of hint. Talking early 60s. I'm thinking maybe it's like a leadoff guy, like maybe a Lou Brock type, or somebody that's going to get all those at bats. I know Rennie Stenick went 7 for 7, but that was in 1976. I believe it was against the Cubs. But this one is from the early 60s. Matty Alou's not a bad guess. I think he was a leadoff hitter. It almost has to be somebody who was a leadoff hitter. Jesus Alou, Mota, Cepeda, Alou, Mota, or Clemente. I'm thinking it's one of the two in the middle. Somebody's going to have a lot of at bats. I don't know where Mota batted in the lineup earlier in his career. To me, it's either got to be Alou or Mota, but pure guess at this point. I'm going to go with Alou just because I'm thinking he would be hitting leadoff a little bit better, a little bit more often because Clemente and Cepeda were middle of the lineup guys. Doesn't mean they didn't do it. It's just I'm thinking logically that the guy had to have at least 6 at bats. All right, Alou, there we go. I'm not sure if he was with San Francisco at the time. I'm not sure because the Alou brothers went all over the place. They played for all kinds of different teams. Yes, Michael, you get part credit because you were in the family. And that was without a multiple choice. So definitely you put us in the right direction here. So once again, Kathy, thank you for the question. And now we go to the top of the 5th. 1964. Okay, cool. All right. Here is Chris Bando. He doubled his first time up. That's a 5-7. Switch hitter batting left against Clemens. Ground ball to Barrett. Barrett is a 2E11. 2 and a 3. Double die shows up again, but I think 2 and a 3 might be all right. And it is. It's a G3. That's a 9, and he is an E11. And there is no 9. So good play for Marty Barrett as he retires Bando for out number 1. And that will send up Rhett Butler. Butler's walked twice, 3-9. This time he gets a base hit. So Butler doing what leadoff guys are supposed to do, get on base. And now he's going to try to get the lead again. He got caught stealing in the first, but he said if you don't succeed, try again. That's a 4. That gets him the lead, so he's a 15. -2 for being held to 13. And everything else is a 0. 1 to 13. We'll try it again. And he got caught stealing again. Boy, Devil Die has just not been kind to Brett Butler. He gets caught stealing on an 18 and a 19 when all he needed was 1 to 13 to be safe. Unbelievable. And my philosophy is if the guy can get a good lead and he's got an over 60% chance to steal, I send him. Now, whether it works out or not, I don't know. But to me, that's a reasonable gamble. Just didn't work out. 210, and that's a ground ball to short. Well, that would have been a double play. If you're playing devil's advocate, that might have been a double play anyway on a ground ball shortstop A. But either way you go, the inning's over. But Cleveland still maintains a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Niekro's fatigue inning is the 6th, so he has 2 more innings without having to worry about fatigue, or at least 1 more inning without having to worry about fatigue. And here's Rich Gedman. He struck out his first time up, the only strikeout for Niekro. 5-4, and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Jacoby again, a 4.E25, so that makes it a little iffy with that 4. But 4 and a 12 is going to be a good play, and that is a 7. Last time he made an error on an 8, so I think 7 might be safe this time. E25. Yeah, if there's an 8, there's a 6 and an 8, but he found a 7, so that he definitely eked his way out on that one and made the play. Wasn't pretty, but he made it. The outs recorded, that's all that counts. So 1 away for Spike Owen. 112, and that's a fly to center. 2 down. So Niekro holding his own. Here's Ellis Burks. He's 0 for 2. 5-8, and that's a pop out to third. And it's another 1-2-3 inning turned in by Phil Niekro. He is matching Clemens pitch for pitch. Clemens just made the one mistake pitch to Brooke Jacoby. That's pretty much the only thing he's been having a hard time with is making the one long ball pitch. Here's Tabler. It'll be Tabler, Carter, and Hall due up here in the 6th for the Cleveland Indians. 6-3, and that's a ground ball pitcher X. Clemens is a 3 with an E0, so he cannot make an error, but he is a 3. So we're going to see what number he needs on the double die to make the play. As a 3, he just basically needs to have a 4 or higher. Just a 4 or higher is all he needs. That's a 9. That's good enough. So Clemens will make the play. And there's 1 away. 1 down, and that brings up Joe Carter. 4-10, and that's going to be a ballpark single check, and that's a 1 to 15, but the double die is a 20, and that tells you what kind of year Joe Carter's having. He can't even get a break on a Fenway single check on a 1 to 15. The double die comes up as a 20, and he just hits a line drive right to Spike Owen for out number 2. When it's not your year, it's just not your year, apparently. Here's Mel Hall. 1-9, and he flies to center. Burks puts it away. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Roger Clemens. We now go to the bottom of the 6th. It's still 2-1 favor of Cleveland, and this is the fatigue inning. Hello, Midlife. This is the fatigue inning for Phil Niekro. So we'll keep an eye on him, see if he allows anything. Marty Barrett will lead off. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. 1-10, and that's a line out to third. Oh, I'm sorry, ballpark single. My bad. Ballpark single, 1 to 15, but that's a 17. Devil Tide comes up again to thwart a Fenway Park base hit against the odds here. So that 110 turns out we're going to keep the line drive to third base. 1 away for Wade Boggs. Boggs is 1 for 2, scored the only run of the game for Boston. 6-11, and that's a ballpark blast. 1 to 7, but that's an 8. Boy, the double die just not cooperating with Fenway Park right now. 1 to 7 for Wade Boggs on a ballpark blast, and we get an 8. Wow. Just a deep fly to right near the Cleveland bullpen. And that's 2 away. Wade Boggs just missed it. So here's Jim Rice. 2-10, and that is a ground ball to Jacoby at third, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for Niekro. He will keep full endurance into the seventh inning, as that knuckleball apparently is dancing enough to throw the Red Sox off balance. Like I said, for standings purposes, this game really is not that big of a deal because both these teams are kind of buried in the American League East. So it's just they're playing for pride, basically. Here's Brooke Jacoby. 1-6, and that's another chance for a home run on a 1-7. 16, though, will change it to a double. So it's a leadoff double for Brooke Jacoby. But he has certainly figured out Clemens. He's 2 for 3. And here comes Doug Frobel. 4-7, and that's a walk. So how about that? So Frobel, that's what he needed to have something off the pitcher card. And he gets there. He did walk 5 times in real world. So he has 3 walks here against his against right-handers. He only faced lefties 3% of the time. So obviously he would be pinch hit for if a lefty came in. But here we got Corey Snyder first and second, nobody out. If he was a decent bunter, we'd have him bunt, but he's a D bunter, so we're going to have him swing away. That's a 1-8, and that's going to be a 1-9 single. Double dies a 20, so he's going to line it to Spike Owen for out number 1. Here's Chris Bando. He doubled and grounded to second. 2-10 for Bando. That's a 1-19 double. That's a 17. It's still going to fit. Boy, that double die was trying to get out of the way, but that's the second double of the game for Chris Bando in the number 9 position. And Cleveland now takes a 3-1 lead. 2 doubles in the inning off of Clemens. Bando with his second double of the game. So Bando and Jacoby have Clemens figured out, as does Butler, but the rest of the team is a little bit wanting. So first and second, 1 out, and here's Butler. 6-2, and that's a ground ball first base C, so Buckner makes the play. We'll flip to Clemens. In the meantime, Frobel was on first, but you know what? Let me redo this because I didn't catch that Frobel was at first base to see if he would have scored. He certainly would have gone to third, but if he was at third, I would have been playing the infield in down 3-1, so it's kind of throwing everything off here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Frobel at third base, and he's going to hold because the infield would have been in. And so I think on the ground ball C, I know this is kind of wonky because it's after the fact, but I'm just thinking what I would have done had I knowing the way I play, what I would have done. So with runners at second and third, ground ball C, it's a 1, batter out, runner holds. So it's going to keep runners at second and third. I know it's a little bit iffy, but after the fact, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So second and third, hopefully it won't affect the game. Second and third now with 2 outs for Julio Franco. Now, if Julio Franco delivers a double or something like that, then, it's a moot point. But if they don't score and Boston comes back and wins, then maybe they play the game under protest. I don't know. 2-9, and that's a line out to second, snagged by Barrett to end the inning. Cleveland gets 1. They could have had more, possibly. Like I said, don't know what, the chances of Frobel. How does he run? He's a 14 runner, so probably would have scored on that. That was third base coach error on that one. But as Jeffrey said in his 1969 replay, human error is part of the Stratomatic replay. It's factored in, or you should factor it in, I should say. I did not see the rated rookie card. I'm assuming you're talking about Donruss because they did the rated rookies, but did not know he had a rated rookie card. Somebody must have thought highly of him. He's probably one of those 4A players that tore it up in AAA and just couldn't make the transition to the major leagues. All right, 7th inning stretch. We want to keep going. The coffee's still warm enough so I can keep going. We do have a trivia question from Kathy in the top of the 8th, so be ready for that when this inning is over. But right now, bottom of the 7th, it is going to be Don Baylor, and Niekro, because of the 1-2-3 inning, keeps full endurance. 4-8, and that's going to be trouble. 1-12. That's a 16, though, so it's only going to be a single. So Niekro catches a break there with the D20 being high enough to avoid a double. And here comes Greenwell. Baylor, of course, not being held. That's a 5-8, and that is a fly ball to right field. One away. And that will send up Buckner. Billy Buck. 6-6, left-handed. That's a ground ball shortstop X. They were not holding Baylor on, so the shortstop Snyder will keep his 4E48, although that's not very good. 4 and E48. 4-15, though, he'll at least get a fielder's choice out of this, I think, on a 4 and a 15. Yep, G2. He'll at least get that, and that's a 10. A lot of times you don't get 10s for errors, but 48 might break that trend. But no, it does not. 6, 12, 15, 3, 16, and 18 are the errors, but it's going to be a G2. So Snyder good enough to make a fielder's choice, and that will take care of Baylor on the base paths. Put Buckner at first base with 2 outs, and of course he's not going to run anywhere. And here's Rich Gedman. 1-2 for Gedman. That's a low max to second base, but there's already 2 outs, so not going to be a double play of any kind, just a line out, and Niekro is going to continue. He only gave up 1 single, so he's still got some juice left. We go to the top of the 8th with the Cleveland Indians maintaining a 4-1 lead. So now if you will direct your attention to the chat box, Kathy has our 3rd trivia question for us. And we'll see if we need help or not, or whether we can guess it right away. What's it called when bases are loaded with 2 outs and a full count when all the runners take off with the pitch? What's it called? I think it's called a name of a baseball game that I've actually played many times. But I'll hold off and let somebody else try to answer that. Or maybe there's a different name for it that I'm not aware of. I'm not sure. But I'll let others chime in. Merry-go-round, that's a good guess. Because the runners are going. Definitely high leverage. I was thinking more of the payoff pitch because that's the game I play. But Michael got a merry-go-round. That's what it's called. Cool. Okay. Michael gets the, I don't have any jelly beans or anything, but you get an attaboy and lots of bells from Kathy. So thank you for that, Miss Kathy. Top of the 8th, this is the fatigue inning for Roger Clemens. And he will be facing Tabler, Carter, and Hall. Due up here in the top of the 8th inning. 5-7, and that's ground ball second base X. We're looking at Barrett. He's a 2E11. 2-15, he'll get to that. E11 and a 9 shouldn't be a problem, and it is not. And a 2-15 is a G1. So an easy play for Marty Barrett. 1 away. And again, Roger Clemens is the victim of lack of run support. Here's Joe Carter. 3-12 for Carter. That's a ballpark single check. 1-15, and again the double die thwarts him. Boy, you just know it's your bet. You just know you're not having a good day when you're Joe Carter, and you get 2 Fenway ballpark single checks up to 15, and both fail. You just know it's not your day. So no, it's a fly to, we'll call it a fly to center. I'm gonna keep the original roll because it doesn't affect any base running because nobody's on base. So that's 2 away. But Joe Carter snake bit in this one. Here's Mel Hall. 5-8 for Hall, and that's a strikeout. Very low strikeout total for Clemens in this game. That is only his 3rd strikeout. But he will keep full endurance into the 9th because he gave up nothing there. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. I think I've heard the term merry-go-round before, but it just didn't dawn on me at the moment. So very good there, Michael, for getting that one. And very good, Kathy, for coming up with that question. All right, here's Spike Owen. Niekro's hanging on with endurance because he hasn't given up anything yet. Now, let's see if they want to pinch hit for Spike Owen. He was a 259 hitter. Let's see who's on the bench. Do they have any lefties on the bench? They have no lefties on the bench. Everybody on the bench is right-handed. Now, if they do pinch hit for him, Ed Romero could come in and play short, or Glenn Hoffman could come in and play short. Probably be Hoffman more than likely. No, actually, Romero's got a better. Well, you know what? They probably have Hoffman because he's not as good of a hitter, and it will be a while. They may never get back to his part in the lineup. So they're going to pinch hit for Spike Owen. We got our choices here. We can either go Dwight Evans or Dave Henderson. We're going to go ahead and go with Dewey. I'm not sure why he's not playing, but I'm assuming since he's on the roster that he could have pinch hit had they chose to. So, and maybe he did pinch hit in some of these games. I don't know. But in our world, he's going to pinch hit. So Evans will pinch hit here in the 8th inning. And then Hoffman will take over at shortstop in the 9th. So we'll go to the computer and get the numbers on Dewey Evans as they try to get something going here against Niekro. Spike Owen on the day was 0 for 2. He was not having any success. So they'll go to Dewey Evans. Evans on the replay is hitting .336. 6 homers, 30 driven in. He had .305 real world. .410, but it's coming off Niekro's card. But look at that, a 1-19 home run, and that's gone. Dewey Evans, a pinch hit home run, and I don't think Spike Owen, let me see, did he have normal? He had weak power. So Spike Owen would have only had a single on that. So bringing in a pinch hitter that had power, either he or Henderson, either one would have hit the home run, but Dewey Evans takes the honors as he hits a solo shot off a Niekro. Pinch hit home run. Look at it again, 410, in home run, 1-19, and he's got the in home run. For Dewey Evans, his 7th home run of the replay. And RBI number 31. He had 34 homers, real world. Cuts the lead to 3-2, and now the Cleveland bullpen starting to stir a bit as lefty Ed Vandenberg might be coming in if we get to Boggs. So pinch hit home run from Evans cuts the lead to 3-2. Back to the top of the order for Ellis Burks. 2-3, and that's a home run chance, 1-17, and that's gone. Back-to-back Jacks have tied this ball game. Ellis Burks. Burks, his 4th home run of the replay, RBI number 10. He had 20 home runs real world. And back-to-back Jacks, we have a tie ball game. So now Marty Barrett is up, and the bullpen, Vandenberg, the lefty, is ready to come in. He would be facing Boggs. So this is going to be the last batter for Niekro. Try to get Barrett. 4-6, and he struck him out. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet. So the strikeout is good. The strat computer confirms he is not tired yet. So the strikeout is there, but I think he's on his last leg, so to speak. So Cleveland Indians will make a move to the bullpen for left-hander Ed Vandenberg. And we'll get the numbers on Vandenberg in the replay. And at the end of the inning, well, actually we got enough now to put in total for Niekro because nobody else is on base to be responsible for. So Vandenberg, the left-hander, will come in and face Wade Boggs. For Niekro, he's going to go 7 1/3 innings pitched. He's going to give up 5 hits and 3 runs, all earned. Let's see, he walked 2 early on and then got control back, and he only struck out 2. And he will have a no decision in this game. The Ed Vandenberg is now your pitcher of record, and he'll be facing Wade Boggs with 1 out and the base is empty. On the replay, Vandenberg is 3-1 with a save, but his ERA is 8.10. In real world, his ERA was 5.10, but in the replay, it's 8.10 so far. 23 innings, 38 hits in 23 innings. That's a little bit, of course, he gave up 96 hits in 72 innings real world. 8 walks, 13 strikeouts, but he's in there to face the lefty. That's a 2-6, and Wade Boggs says, lefty, bring him on. I don't care. He singles. And that's going to be it for Vandenberg. This is not 2025. A pitcher can face one batter. Back in the day, not a problem. So Vandenberg will leave, and the Tribe will bring in a right-handed pitcher, and they will bring in Mark Huseman. So Vandenberg unable to get out Wade Boggs, so he will be lifted. And Mark Huseman is your new pitcher. Huseman on the replay is 0-4 with 0 saves. 6.75 earned run average. He had a 5.04 real world. Started the season with, I believe it was Kansas City or Seattle. I forget which one, but got traded to Cleveland. Let's see, 25 innings pitched, 30 hits, 8 walks, 12 strikeouts. So Boggs at first, Rice at the plate, Boggs not being held. 3-8, and that's a walk. So he will walk Jim Rice. And now the Red Sox have gotten to the Cleveland bullpen, which is a soft spot, definitely for them. Baylor now your batter. That's a 3-11 for Baylor. It's a ballpark single, and that's a base hit. It's going to load the bases. This time Double Die cooperated. The bases are loaded now for Mr. Greenwell. And Huseman couldn't get it done, so he's coming out of the game. And they're bringing in a lefty, Scott Bales, to try to bail themselves out of this, for lack of a better term. So Huseman couldn't get it done. He didn't get anybody out. He gave up a hit and a walk. And now Bales will come on, the lefty, to face Greenwell. So let's see what Bales is doing on the replay. Got a few starts, but mostly relief so far. Scott Bales, in real world, was 7-8 with a 4.64 earned run average, both as a starter and a reliever. In the replay, he is 3-4 with a save and a 6.02 earned run average. 43 innings pitched, 56 hits, 14 walks, 24 strikeouts. Bases are loaded, 1 out in a tie game, and they're going to play the infield in. They don't trust the double play, so they are playing the infield in. That's a 5-5 left-hander. It's a ground ball, second base C. Good thing they played the infield in, because let's check it out with the bases loaded. Well, I know if the infield was back, the run would have scored. But a ground ball C with the bases loaded is a 7. That says batter safe, lead runner is out. So the play is made. The play is made by the second baseman, Franco. He will throw to the plate to force out Boggs 4-2. And Greenwell reaches on the fielder's choice. And the score remains tied. Score at 4-2. And now it's up to Bill Buckner, but he may not bat. Bill Buckner is going to be called back as a lefty. And they will bring in Dave Henderson, to pinch hit. What this is going to do is Dwight Evans will now take over at first base in the 9th inning. And Henderson will just pinch hit and be done with it. But you need a first baseman, and Dwight Evans is rated to play first base. So he will go in and play first base. But right now, Dave Henderson, will pick up a bat and hit with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Obviously a clutch situation. I don't forget to a 3-ball, 2-strike count, Kathy, but this could be a merry-go-round play with the bases loaded and 2 outs. So we'll get the pinch hitting on the computer for Hindu, and we'll get what he's doing on the replay. Dave Henderson. That will leave Sullivan, the backup catcher, Ed Romero, and Glenn Hoffman's going to be used. So after this inning, it'll be Ed Romero and Mark Sullivan will be the two bench players remaining for the Red Sox. All right, so Henderson, real world, 234 hitter and only 184 at bats. He was for some reason, I guess he had an injury-plagued year or something. I don't know. But on the replay for Henderson, see what he's done. On the replay, he is hitting 222, 7 homers, 20 driven in. He hit 234 real world. So bases loaded, 2 outs. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Bales. 6-7 against the righty. That's a single to right field for Henderson. And the Red Sox take the lead. We'll see if 2 runs can score, although Baylor was the runner on second base. He's not very fast. The single goes to right field where Frobel does have a -3 arm, so I think they're going to hold everybody where they are. But it is a base hit for Henderson, and the Red Sox take a 4-3 lead. That run is charged to Ed Vandenberg. So he will give up at least the 1 run. He might give up this second run. We'll have to wait and see. Rich Gedman is your scheduled hitter, but he will not hit. He will be called back. And Ed Romero will pinch hit. So the Red Sox are going to use everybody. Romero will pinch hit, and then Sullivan will go in and catch the 9th. So Romero pinch hitting, and then Sullivan will catch in the 9th. And that'll be everybody. So the 9th man to bat in the inning will be pinch hitter Ed Romero. And then Sullivan will come in and catch, and that will deplete the bench. They've used everybody at that point. So Romero, in real world, was a 272 hitter, no home runs. And we'll see what he does on this. Whoops, not Hoffman, it's Romero. What am I doing? We will see what happens here. So we take Gedman out, and we bring in Romero. There he is. Romero will pinch hit. However, Cleveland will counter, and they will bring in Ernie Camacho to pitch, a right-hander, as Bales unable to bail him out. Bales did pitch a third of an inning, and let's see, he gave up a single. No walks, no strikeouts. But it will be Ernie Camacho coming on to pitch. Ernie Macho Camacho. And this is the 4th pitcher used this inning. Ernie Camacho. Real world, as you can see, he was 0-1 with a 9.22 ERA. No saves, but in our replay, he's 1-0 with 5 saves and an ERA of 3. Oh, he did have 1 save. I take it back. He did have 1 save. But in our replay, it's 1-0 with 5 saves, an ERA of an even 3, 15 innings pitched, 14 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So we'll see what happens here. Pinch hitter against new pitcher, Camacho against Romero. It's a 4-8, and that's a fly ball to center field to end the inning. So Camacho gets out of it to end the inning, but the Red Sox put 3 on the board and take a 4-3 lead over the Indians, and now Roger Clemens has a chance to collect the victory as he has endurance going into the top of the 9th. And now, boy, does that play back here on this double that got messed up, does that really come into play now? But like Jeffrey said, part of that is human error is part of the whole deal. So just has to be lived with. So new catcher is Mark Sullivan, and he's going to bat in the number 8 position, formerly held by Gedman. Dwight Evans will stay in the game at first base, and he is the leadoff hitter next if they go to the 9th inning because he's hitting the number 9 position. The shortstop will be in Buckner's old position. That is going to be Glenn Hoffman, where Henderson hit for him. And now we're all set. Roger Clemens will be on to try to seal the deal. And he'll be facing Jacoby, Frobel, and Snyder, but I'm sure they will hit for Frobel. In fact, I know they will hit for Frobel. They will bring in, they don't have anybody from the, well, they got Bernazar from the switch hitting side. They do have Dave Clark, but he's not very good. Carmen Castillo, but he's a righty, does better against lefties. So I'm thinking Bernazar, but we'll see what happens with Jacoby if he gets on base or not. That could determine things. So Clemens against Jacoby. Jacoby's already got him 2 for 3, a home run and a double. 412, and that's a ground ball back to Clemens, 1 away. And now we need a pinch hitter for Frobel. Question is, who do you go to? Do you go to Bernazard, who's a switch hitter, and hit 250 real world, or do you go to Castillo, who hit 250 as a righty? Dave Clark, another lefty, only hit 207. So I'm thinking if you want somebody, well, it depends on if you want somebody to hit a home run or you want somebody to get on base. That's the question. Although Bernazard did hit 14 home runs. So they both got power. So we'll go and go with, we'll play the percentages and go with Bernazard as the pinch hitter for Frobel. So we'll bring in Tony Bernazard, who had most of the day off, but now will pinch hit. And the other two hitters are Dempsey and Thornton. They're both really, really bad, so wouldn't want to bring them in. So Bernazard on the replay is hitting 233, 7 homers, 26 driven in, hit 250 real world. OPS, cards don't tell me that on these older cards. They don't give the OPS, so I'm not sure who has the highest OPS on that. Bernazard, the batter. 2-5, and that is a pop out to first base, out number 2. Now, if you want to play devil's advocate, 2-5. Carmen Castillo would have struck out. Dave Clark would have grounded out. Rick Dempsey had a chance at a double, but the 15 would have been an out. And Andre Thornton would have grounded to short. So that was a Kobayashi Maru, and, of course, Doug Frobel. Well, actually, Doug Frobel would have walked if I left him in there. How do you like that? But, oh, well, I mean, I couldn't let a guy that hit 100 on the season still bat. That just didn't make any sense. So, oh, well, we tried, and it just didn't work out. The role just did not work out. So it's down to Corey Snyder, last chance. Snyder has power. He hit 33 home runs on the season. He does have some good power. If he could find that column 3, he'd be in good shape. Got to find that column 3. Let me move this over because column 3 is starting to get out of camera here. Column 3. And he gets column 3. Corey Snyder, a 3-3. And that's a home run. Look at that right there. Clean as a baby's ass, as someone once said. 3-3, 2 outs, top of the 9th, down 4-3. And Corey Snyder connects with a clean as a baby's ass home run to tie this ball game and possibly thwart Roger Clemens from getting a win. Snyder, his 8th home run of the season, RBI number 23, and we are tied. Unbelievable. Clemens going to stay in there to face Bando, who's got 2 doubles already. 3-7 for Bando, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. But they tie it. That's going to be it for Clemens. He's going to go 9 innings. If he can win it if the Red Sox come back in the 9th. But other than that, he's going to give up 7 hits and 4 runs, all of which were earned. And we'll get the rest of the totals as we go to the computer. And coming to play right field will be Carmen Castillo to take the place. So Castillo will be the new right fielder. And he will be in that spot formerly done here by Frobel. So Castillo's in right field. So Clemens, let's get those numbers for Clemens on the replay, or on the game, I should say. Full box score. Clemens, 9 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He can't lose it. He could win it if the Red Sox come back to win. We'll complete the Cleveland pitching lines also, as Bales and Huseman give up nothing, but the 1 run is charged to Vandenberg. And now we have Dwight Evans to lead it off. Remember, he pinch hit for Spike Owen and hit the home run in the number 9 position. So when we stay in the game, he stays in that number 9 position. And that's where we are located, is the number 9 position in the batting order. So Dewey Evans, let's move it over here so you can see the cards better, I guess. Probably makes more sense to do it now since we're into the 9th inning here. Bottom of the 9th, I should say. 4-8-1 for the Red Sox, 4-7-1 for the Tribe. And we go to the top of the 9th, Camacho facing Dewey Evans, who homered in a pinch hitting appearance his first time up. 5-7, and that's a trouble for Camacho. That's a 3. It'll be a leadoff double for Dewey Evans. Red Sox don't have anyone left on the bench for a pinch runner, so they're stuck with Evans. He runs at a 12, which is not great, but not bad. And Ellis Burks, who is an A bunter, will try to get him to third base. So we'll have a havoc roll, nothing happening, but Burks is going to bunt. We'll see if the infield plays corners in, and they do not. So he will keep an A bunter. The bunt's going to go to the number 3, which I believe is the first baseman, but I could be wrong. No, it's actually the catcher. So catcher Bando is going to be there, but we're in the A category. So it basically 10 or less, he's in good shape. That's a 9. That's a good sacrifice. So it's going to be a sacrifice bunt. It's going to go 2-4. And going to third is Evans. So now, of course, the infield will have to come in for Marty Barrett. And if he retires Barrett, they will surely walk Wade Boggs intentionally. But he's got to get through Barrett first with 1 out and a runner at third. Let me put this in the computer, the sacrifice bunt, before I forget. So it's going to go 2-4. All right, nothing on the havoc. So here's Barrett. And Barrett is 0 for 3 with a walk. That's a 3-2. It's going to foul it out to the catcher. So how about that? That's a huge out for Camacho to get him to foul it out to the catcher, leaving Evans stranded at third now with 2 outs. And they've already said, toss the 4 wide ones at Wade Boggs. We're not pitching to him. And that's going to bring up Jim Rice. Interesting decision here. You could walk Rice as well to load the bases and pitch to Baylor. But Baylor's 3 for 3, so I think we're going to have to pitch to Jim Rice. We really don't want to. And then you get the bases loaded, and a walk wins the game. So I think you got to pick your poison. They're going to pitch to Jim Rice. Runners at the corners. Of course, Boggs not being held at first. But there are 2 outs now. Camacho trying to get through this and force extra innings. 6-7, he does not. It's a single, and that's going to be the ball game. Jim Rice walks it off with a base hit off of Camacho. That 6-7 single is going to be a base hit, and the Red Sox will win the ball game by the score of 5-4 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. The bases weren't loaded, but they were close to being loaded. And the single will score Dwight Evans. And there's your ball game. Red Sox win at 5-4. 5 runs, 10 hits, and an error for Boston. 4 runs, 7 hits, and an error for Cleveland. Clemens does get the win. He goes to 4-3. Camacho will take the loss. And Camacho drops to 1-1 with that loss. And Boston improves to 18-27. Cleveland drops to 19-27. Like I said, they're both bottom feeders. So it's not, anywhere near affecting the standings at all. So, like I said, you could argue that could play the game under protest because of the errant double chance to have Frobel possibly score. But like Jeffrey said, that's part of the game, is human error. All right, so player of the game, that was Rice's only hit, so I really want to give him the play. Actually, Dewey Evans could be the player of the game coming into pinch hit. Dewey Evans, pinch hit home run that really got him going in the bottom of the eighth, and then a double to lead off the ninth. So even though he only had 2 at bats, he was 2 for 2, scoring 2 runs and driving in a run. So to me, Dewey Evans is the player of the game. Unfortunately, Mike Greenwell did not have the best game in the world. He did have an RBI ground out, but really not the best outing for him. Trying to make that a pseudo tribute game to Greenwell, but it didn't work out. But Dewey Evans is your player of the game. So as we look ahead to Monday, which will be the next game in this replay, let's see where that will take us. We will go to Yankee Stadium. We'll be in the Bronx. The Seattle Mariners will visit the New York Yankees. Not exactly the best pitching matchup in the world, but you got to do what you got to do. Scott Bankhead for the Mariners against Charles Hudson for the Yankees. So it's kind of interesting that the Yankees have a pitcher named Hudson right there with the Hudson River. But Charlie Hudson will be on the mound for the Yankees against Scott Bankhead of the Mariners. That will be game number 303, and it will be Monday morning. Another question for you guys. Do you like this 9 o'clock start time, or would you prefer I bump it up to 8 or 8:30, or take it back to, well, I don't really want to take it back because I want to be able to, I got some yard work I got to start doing here shortly. So I want to have time to get this game done and be done with it, reasonably well, so I can have time to do that on the outside. So if I move the game time at all, it would be forward, would not be backwards. So I don't know if you guys like the 9 o'clock, we'll keep it. If you would rather have it earlier, I'm not going to do a Jeffrey 6 a.m. That's not happening. But I can certainly do 8 o'clock because I'm up at 7. So I'm just kind of tooling around till 9 o'clock. Just kind of picked 9 o'clock one day. And actually, Kathy, mine's leaf raking. I got pine needles and leaves all over the place, mostly pine needles and pine cones. We've got so many pine trees here. And the leaves are just secondary, basically, because all the pine needles and the pine cones and whatnot. So it'll be a lot of manual raking. I do have a blower, but when you get up in the pine needles and stuff, that catches the leaves, and the pine needles don't blow. So the only way I get the leaves off is off the driveway. Off the grass, they're not gonna do it. All right, so we're gonna keep the 9 a.m. That seems to be the feeling of at least the first couple people. Unless I get a whole lot of comments coming in later saying move it to 8, I'm going to keep it at 9 o'clock. That seems to be what everyone's comfortable with and is used to. So, it may be, 10 minutes one way or the other on there. So if I want to get the game done a little earlier, I might start at 8:45, or I might start at 9:15, or somewhere in between. But we're going to use 9 o'clock as a general rule for that. So anyway, Cleveland wins at 5-4. I'm sorry, Boston wins at 5-4. RIP to Mike Greenwell. And unfortunately, he didn't have the best game in the world for him. But Dewey Evans and the Red Sox won it for him, I guess. And Red Sox win at 5-4. Hey, Joel, there you go. I know West Coasters, yeah. You got to deal with the West Coast. And so, yeah, Yankees and Seattle will be the next game on Monday. On Tuesday, we're looking at being in Baltimore for California at Baltimore. That's Mike Witt and Scott McGregor. And then on Wednesday, we're probably looking in Toronto. I'm going east to west, so Toronto would be the next east town. That'll be Oakland at Toronto. Good team matchup. Both teams top of the divisions, but a horrible pitching matchup. Moose Haas against Joe Johnson. So who knows what's going to happen there, but the Moose will be loose. That'll be on Wednesday. So Monday is Yankees Seattle in New York. Tuesday is California Baltimore in Baltimore. And Wednesday will be Oakland at Toronto. Then after that, we'll figure it out. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all are having a nice Friday. Hope your weekend plans go the way you would like them to go. If you're a college football fan, of course, that will be going on tomorrow as well. But for those that are curious or even somewhat into or like season ticket baseball, I will be playing Game 3 of the 1978 World Series at 1 o'clock this afternoon, live on the channel. It'll be Game 3. They had an off day yesterday to travel back to New York. So Ron Guidry and Don Sutton will be going at it this afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then tomorrow at 12 will be Game 4 of that series. I'm not sure who the pitchers are yet, but it'll be the Yankees and the Dodgers Game 4 of the World Series. And then Sunday night will be Game 5 of that World Series. So, so the weekend is pretty much going to be, from here until Monday, is pretty much going to be the 3 games for the World Series that I'm going to play. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great day, whatever your day has for you. Stay safe out there and enjoy the weather if it's nice in your area. Enjoy the hobby also. And just be kind to one another. There's a lot of, I don't want to get political at all, but there's a lot of angst in the world these days, or in the country these days, and I prefer to keep things on the friendly side as much as possible. No reason we can't be civil about. It's okay to have disagreements, but I think you need to be civil about it and respectful of other people's thoughts and feelings. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get in the weeds on that, but just be kind to one another out there. Take care of each other. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.